What is up, gents? Greatsword dude here. We are back. Just got back actually about, I don't know, an hour ago from the GT. First GT ever with Warhammer 40k. I haven't played in like 7 years, but obviously if you guys are on the channel, we're playing almost every single Monday night. I try and get as many games as possible. It's more of like a tournament but fun channel for 40k, so if you guys aren't just Greatsword players but like tournament settings and you like 40k and you like playing the game, if you like the hobby, we have a Discord. You can post like pictures, ask tournament, rep, stuff like that. And then also, if you guys are in the Northeast, I'm always looking for games. We record games as much as possible and throw them up on the channel. So this channel is mainly for tournament type setting, as well as just Greatswords and 40k in general. So today, we just finished up a two-day, 5-game grand tournament. This is out in Scranton, Pennsylvania. It was called like Fight Before Christmas, which is pretty cool. It had like a Christmas setting. All the gifts and prizes were wrapped. You knew, he wrote on the front what you knew we were getting, so it wasn't just like random. And then we got stockings, which everybody who came in got a stocking, which had a whole bunch of like swag and stuff like that in it. My swag bag, it's all random. I actually got a thing of maces for salamanders and a door for salamanders for I guess a rhino or yeah, it's probably a rhino door. Looks pretty cool. It's got a big dragon. And then I also got 2 paintbrushes. There was a bag of candy I gave away in there. And then the place, actually, it's called Adventure Games. It was a huge store, all indoors. And they had a whole front section, which you could probably put at least like, I don't know, 8 to 8 tables or something out front. I had a whole bunch of computers lined up for like gaming. It was like a main like game store, so they had cards, all that stuff. And a whole back row. They could probably fit another 20 tables in the back. So huge store. We had 35 people at this grand tournament. It was 2 days, so we played 3 on Saturday and we played 2 on today. And they basically they split it up in brackets. I forgot this was like a terrain feature I won. So I guess it's like a little building like that. It's pretty cool. All the terrain was kind of like this. It was a custom thing, and what I liked about it was consistent. It wasn't like random like terrain pieces on every table. Everything was consistent. Day 1 it had a consistent layout, and then which you'll see in the pictures, and then day 2 is a consistent layout. I liked day 2 a lot better than day 1, but we'll go over it and I'll tell you kind of how it was in all the games. So what we do for these videos is I take pictures because I can't record, and I go through each game, what I learned, what the opponent did, what I did, if we won, if we lost, questions, all that stuff. And you guys can leave in the comments below what you liked, what you didn't like, what we messed up, or what we should have done, or stuff like that. And it's made for people to like kind of learn strategy and learn exactly how to get better at the tournament setting, especially grand tournaments, because this was the first one of hopefully many on the channel. Shout out to Noob, who interviews people who win GTs. I didn't happen to win. Guy Taylor, whatever his name, won GT this time. But what was cool, our team name is called the Cuddle Buddies, which is a small, quick story. But all of our names are stripper names. It's pretty funny. But one of our Cuddle Buddies actually made it into 2nd place. He went up to top table. He went 4-0 going into today, or 3-0, and then won another one, and then went 4-0 going into the person who won it, and he placed 2nd. So one of the Cuddle Buddies actually placed 2nd. I was 2nd in my bracket. There's 4 brackets. I was going into the 2nd tier bracket, and if you win that bracket, you get like a prize. They actually gave prizes out to the first like 9 people or something, so it was a lot of prizes given out to the win. We'll go over the prizes at the end. But it was cool. So we actually had our Cuddle Buddies. Craig, who is another Cuddle Buddy, he's our like team captain. He won 3 games going into today, and then he happened to lose 2. But I won. I finished off 3-2, and I won 2 today. So it was all over the place. I'll go over all the games because some of them are really freaking crazy. My 2nd game was probably the best one I had all weekend. It was just so close, but we'll go over it. So that was kind of the store. That was the winners. Congrats to the winners. Brian, congrats for getting 2nd. But I actually took notes of the first day, so I'm actually gonna have notes for you guys so I can tell you and kind of remember what happened. Yes. Okay, cool. So let's pull up the pictures. So let me know pictures are too small, I'll upload it to my Discord. But let's go over the army first. So what I brought, this is probably one of the last chances we get to run 2 Nemesis Dreadknight Grandmasters. So I would definitely start practicing with 4 Dreadknights, 1 Grandmaster, and the rest, the other one, they're going to limit detachment, like not detachments, but like Brotherhoods. So you won't be able to take 2 different like Dark Eldar detachments. We won't be able to take 2 Brotherhood detachments. So we would have to do 1 Brotherhood. But you could take more detachments. It just has to be of that same Brotherhood. So we don't have a lot of options. So it's hard to kind of fill in spots. If we had 2 good options of that spot, we don't. So it's kind of limiting the Grey Knights a lot. But it's cutting down 1 Grandmaster. So that's about 200 some points that you're able to swap and kind of try new stuff out. So that's something to practice. But this tournament, we got 2 Grandmasters. Let's go through the list. So first, our Grandmaster, my favorite one right here, is the Blaze of Victory Grandmaster. He has the Warlord trait where he gets a 6-inch move, and he gets to move a core model 6 inches as well. He has the Sigil of Exigence, which is a teleport shunt. He had Gem of Anaktu, which I'll go over why it's so good on this guy. He has Vortex of Doom, Empyric Amplification. All these Dreadknights, I didn't put the swords on until later, is kitted out the same way. They all have swords. They all have Psycannons and Silencers. The Grandmasters have teleporters, and the one sword facing down right here, the Blades of Victory, also has a teleporter. All right, so that's how they're all kitted out. This one, though, I think that was everything he had on him. This Grandmaster is a Prescient, so we ran Prescient and Blades of Victory. Prescient Grandmaster has the 3++ invuln save, the Servant of the Throne. He didn't bring a Warlord. This was a Warlord, and he has Gate of Affinity and Empyric Amplification. And that was about it. So just kind of like bare bones with the 3++. And then we have 3 Dreadknights. They're in the heavy support slot. 2 detachments. This detachment was Prescient. This detachment was the Brotherhood, or Blades of Victory. And then we had 3 strike squads. 1 strike squad was in the Blades of Victory. 2 strike squads were in the Prescient. And then we had 2 min units of Prescient interceptors. They were in the Prescient squad, and then 1 10-man unit in the Blades of Victory, which we combat squatted. Everybody basically has halberds. The strike squads have 1 silencer in each unit. I just love the silencers; they're free on the strikes. And then we have 2 tech priests hiding behind this little bottle back here. 1 tech priest was a Prescient. 1 tech priest was a Blades of Victory. The Prescient had warp shaping and Divination, which is the +1 CP. It's very, very good. And the other one had a Gate of Affinity. So he also had the Conduit, which heals auto 3 every time he ends his movement with 3 inches of vehicle, which we have 5 vehicles. So that was it. It was a basic Grey Knight tournament list. And we'll go over kind of like how they played out, when I used what, and all that stuff. So my first opponent happened to be Orcs. I've only played them once, and I won the last tournament after playing them. You guys saw that video. If you did, if you haven't, go check it out. But it was almost exact same list. So basically, I kind of played the same exact list in the last tournament as this tournament. So let me see if I can actually widen this for you guys. I think it's a little bit... Yeah, there we go. And zoom out. Hopefully that's not too distracting for you guys. All right, cool. So what they had, this guy on the big squid, obviously -1 damage, like really strong. He has the Dark Eldar thing where you get to reroll your attacks if you don't wound or hit me. Knob on, or War Boss on a bike. 3 of these character dudes, which if you charge in, you roll on like a 2-up or something. You do D3 mortal wounds. Like it's pretty strong. Choppers, they're very, very good. They just kill Dreadknights. Buggies. And then these guys are the missile dudes down here. You had 3 of those. A couple of the guys who advance deploy. The rocket dudes who are just good for deep striking. And then 1, 2, 3, I believe 4 units, 3 or 4 units of the cav dudes with the squigs. Yeah, so I kind of knew how to play into it. Again, learning from the last tournament. Great opponent. He's a local guy. First time I met him and played him, but a lot of people knew him. Really just fun game when we first started. This was the terrain. So this was all of day 1. We have 2 craters, boxcars. These two pieces right here are dense terrain, so it doesn't limit you, not at -2. These are -2 to move. Forests on the outside, more crates on the back, and then all these are line of sight blocking, but there's windows throughout the entire thing. So let's go over the terrain. My Dreadknights, very limited, just like how it was at the AU game a while back, but very limited with movement. Can't really move through here, can't move past here, and couldn't move through like this and this. So basically for me to get into the center of the table or on the outsides, I just can't do it. These are just way too big, or like no line of sight blocking in the middle. It was just weird. These are pretty tall, but most of the big stuff that you want to shoot is tall anyway, so you're going to get line of sight to it. Yeah, it was just weird. It was very limiting, and I went 1 and 2 the first day, which again, not that big of a deal. It's just that's how my Dreadknights were very hard to move. Let's get into the game. So we deployed. He got first turn. Plus every game on day 1, I went second. So that was something that we learned too. I deployed a couple dreads back here. We had the redeploy, so I spent 30 points for the redeploy, and we have our 6-inch move, so I get to redeploy a lot of different models. But we kind of just spread out. It was the one where it's all these objectives and the triangle deployment. So he got turn 1. That was his deployment. He basically kind of scooted up a little bit. Didn't really do a ton. Moved out. On my turn, he shot, and he did like some damage to these guys, but the tech priest just kept healing him. He shot, and the buggies just do so much freaking damage. Buggies started back here. They ignore line of sight. They ignore all that stuff. They have a crap ton of shots. So they just kept shooting. What I did was I moved all my interceptors. They just kept pushing out and taking over these objectives. I was trying to play the objective game the entire weekend. And he picked Raise the Banners. I picked Assassinate because he had a ton of characters. I picked Engage in All Fronts. And I picked Psychic Ritual because he didn't have any Psychers. So this guy actually Gate of Affinity all the way over in this corner, and I was able to shoot off the 3 missile buggies over here, which they just kind of move up alongside. So I was able to Empyric Amplification, which is what that spell is right there. And then this guy shunted right next to him all the way up here, and they both just shot these buggers off the table. There's some interceptors back there, interceptors there, interceptors there. So I'm kind of taking over this side of the table. His dude right here has lookout sword, so I couldn't really shoot him that much. And we tried to put a lot of shots into the interceptors here. But we put a lot of shots into this unit, which we took off most of them right there. He had choppers back here, which just kept going out of the cover, shooting my Dreadknights. He spent 1 CP and went behind the cover to kind of run away. But my biggest fear was this guy. And really the Cav, because the Cav do so much damage to my Dread. So this game I kind of kept a lot of my Dreads back. I couldn't really move forward because of these things. So let's see what the next thing was. So this guy, Gate of Affinity from back there all the way up to here. All these guys kind of just scooted up. Tech Priest was literally right behind. The other one was in this building, so I literally just kept healing. Like this guy still has 10 wounds. These guys are full. He only had 2 left. He took a lot of the blunt from the rockets. So rockets hopped out, shot him, hopped back. Grandmaster kept moving up this way. We had this side of the board still, and this side of the board is kind of getting jammed down. He also he had a forest as well, and they don't ignore the forest. So he was also limited with this terrain. Buggy started to creep out, and by this point in the game, it was he kind of knew it was an uphill battle. All my dreads are basically still alive. He managed to kill the dread in the middle of the table, and his war boss was kind of just wide open, just sitting there. Choppers were right there. These guys are taking over this side of the board. I kind of left them. I was like, all right, you guys can stay there. I don't need that side of the board anymore. We were up on primary. We were up on secondaries. Assassinate, we got most of it. I was able to tag his buggies, not knowing that his buggies do a lot of damage in combat. So he basically just killed that whole squad. They died. And then we moved our Grandmaster up here, Empyric Amplified, and killed his final dude right here. Hammerhand charged in, and this guy didn't really stand a chance. These guys are still there, but they basically died the next turn. All the choppers got shot off and charged. And these guys stayed on. He basically called it after this this turn, and we were able to max out on game 1 98 to 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yeah, not a lot. So it was a very hard game. Yeah, it was tough. After I shot off most of his stuff on my turn, and just all the movement that I was able to kind of go around and Empyric amplify. He didn't have any psychic defense, so I was able to kind of like do whatever I wanted to do, and then go from there. So, turn 2, game 2. Again, I said this is probably the best game I had in a very, very, very long time, if not the best, closest game. I'd say closest game I've ever had against Sisters. All right, so Sisters game. Let me see if I can remember the list. A lot of you probably know the list, but it's this chick right there, the main girl that everybody takes. 2 rhinos. Both rhinos had a 5-man unit of Meltas, a 5-man unit of regular girls. There was 3 of these war suits, which are just melee beasts. They had some heavy bolters. 10 unit of the shield chicks. 3 of these girls, which he said nobody really runs these girls, but I think they're really good. They have Meltas on them, -1 damage, and it looks like they have maces. So they're pretty tanky. Couple characters in the middle. He had the one character which is like the chaplain, and then he had another character which is like the apothecary, I believe. Yeah, he had two people in there, which are like characters. There was the other rhino, regular sister unit, and then he had an exorcist tank. The accordion chick back in the back there. So the deployment was the 9-inch bubble. I set up most of my dreads here and over there, and he got first turn, so he was able to basically move up. I redeployed all my guys back to try and like stay back, and then he got first turn, so he basically just moved everything up and kind of kept the center objective. Now, my biggest hurdle was picking that secondary here, because I'm thinking if I just move up a unit in the middle of the board, I can get 3 points. But no, you have to control the middle objective marker to get the 3 points, which I didn't even think about. So I moved up my interceptor, like 2-man unit up there. I was like, all right, I get 3 points. He's like, no, you have to control. I was like, wait, what? So I picked a secondary, which I didn't really get almost any points from. And I kind of just kept giving him 3 points every single turn, because he look at this. He held down the center the entire freaking time. Now, the team that this guy was on, everybody said that he's one of the top players on that team, so it made me feel better after getting my ass kicked by this guy. So, fun player also. He reminded me of Grant, who plays War Machine, just like one of the nicest dudes and very good at the game. So that was this guy. But we got the Grandmasters now. His turn 1, he was able to kill or do a lot of wounds to him. I had to pop my 3++. He lived with maybe 3 wounds, and then he lived with like 2 wounds. So turn 1, he was able to really wound up this guy, kill a couple of people. Oh, and I took grind, which again, I took 2 things. I took engage, grind, and the secondary, which was just bad choices on my part. So I already started off at a disadvantage. I should have took Psychic Ritual, which just makes so much more sense. I should have taken I don't know if engage was like the best one to take, but Warlord or Assassination would have been good. And maybe would be the Banners, Rod, Octarius. I think I'm gonna start taking Octarius. I'm gonna try out Octarius. Like if you can like almost guarantee that you can get 8 to 12 points from a secondary that you don't have to fight or worry about the enemy team doing, I think that's a good secondary. I'm gonna make a video on just secondaries for Grey Knights, which I think will be really good for a lot of people. So then after this turn, let's get into this turn. So this turn, who do I have left? This Dreadknight up here, I think, died. This Dreadknight's alive. This Dreadknight's alive. This Dreadknight's alive. So both my Grandmasters are dead. 1, 2, 3 Dreads are left. I have a Tech Priest trying to heal a little bit. These Interceptor guys did probably the best out of the entire game. They kind of cleared off the melted chicks that were here, and then the regular unit here, and there's a little Rhino there. This unit over there, oh, I'm sorry, Grandmaster's still alive. He shunted, because he got shot by this thing. He shunted all the way in his back corner, because that was like the only place that I can get him without him getting shot again. So he had to redirect, and I think he blew up another Dread over here. But he's over here. So his Grandmaster did some work. He moved up, killed the Rhino, took these chicks off the objective, and these guys kind of just hung back here. Exorcist didn't get touched the entire time. He had another small sister unit in this building on the objective, and this chick just wrecks face. She does so well. Melted chicks lived for a little bit. These guys are chilling over there, and these guys started coming over here to kill whatever was left over here. And these guys just hang about. These melters just kept doing so much to my Dreadknights. It was very, very scary. And then this turn, we have Grandmaster chilling up here with 4 wounds left. We have this one here, this one here. This one is in combat. He died after she kind of just annihilated him. These melted chicks fell back, and all these guys got annihilated by basically her. Like, her alone killed my guys on her turn, and then on my turn, she killed, or on her turn, she killed more. So she sat there at the end of the game, just holding that objective. I wasn't really doing anything to her. I wasn't going to go near her. These are all the miracle dice that he had. And these chicks were just super scary. So this is where it starts to get close. So we're adding up the points. We're keeping track, all that stuff. It's pretty neck and neck. Like, it's pretty close. He kept saying I was kicking his ass. I was not at all. Like, he was up almost the entire game. He knew exactly how to play his army. He knew exactly what to do. He had a 5-up for Psyker powers, so he was able to stop all my Psyker powers on a 5-up. He can use miracle dice to like stop it. He can use it to like roll charges, and like the miracle dice are broken. I think they're just so freaking good. I'm like, oh, I only need a 1 for this unit to live. Morale check. Let me take this 1. Oh, great, my unit still lives. So these guys started moving over here. And then once this guy basically died, they basically started moving back to the center of the board. So let's do it. All right, so this is the end of the game. All right, so at the end of the game, again, it's my turn. This is round over. We have to finish out the round. So the TO comes over and says, all right, what round you in? We said round 4. He's like, all right, we have 15 minutes left. Can't start another round. Go. So we're finishing up our round. We're both adding up points. We're like, all right, if I do this, this, and this, I can win. Literally, I had to do everything. So what I did is I forgot to deep strike my dudes, my strike squads. Actually, I took notes. Let me do this. So I wrote down closest game in a long time. Measuring sticks are important. I'll go over that. I got turn 2. Secondary is hell. Terrible. Needed a guy in last turn. Loved with one guy. He lived with one guy. Loved. Needed to roll 10 twice. Forgot to deep strike 2 units. Okay, so I forgot to deep strike these 2 units on turn 2. So they came down turn 3. They might came down turn 3. I honestly don't. They came down basically like the last turn I needed them to. And what happened was when these guys came down, they had the pursuit. There was a whole 10-man squad that was still left over here. There was a character chick that was still left over here. These guys basically shot and killed the rest of those 3 melted chicks. So these 2 kind of shot them off the board. And we did some damage to these chicks. They have a 2-up, 4-up. Like, they're very, very good. Hard to kill. And then the character makes you fight last. So, as I was shooting these chicks and taking them off the board, these guys needed a 9 with a reroll to charge. And I didn't do it. They're OBSEC'd. They're not. So if I was able to get this zone and get grind, that was the thing I needed. Grind. I needed to get 15 points for primary, and I needed the secondary, which didn't really play a factor. So what happened was these guys failed their 10-inch charge twice, which again, I'm probably going to fail that. These guys charged on a 9 to get into these sisters, which they made it. They killed the sisters. They got objective. I think I got 5 points there. I controlled the center objective, which I got another 3, so that was 8 points for that secondary. And grind, he lived with 1 chick left. If I kill her, I get grind. I get 3 points. I win by 2. I didn't get grind because he lost 9 people. So he had a miracle dice of 1. So he took the 1 and he lived. Boom, game over. He won 72 to 71. So that was basically the end of the game. I had this objective, I had that objective, I had the center objective, and I had that objective. So I got the main. Engage, I got 1, 2, 3, I got 2. Or I got 4. These guys at the very end, they got 3 points. They moved up. I rolled a 6 and then moved up again. So I got 3 for engage. I got 8 for that secondary. And then for grind, I couldn't get the final chick to die. I think he rolled like a 4 on a bunch of saves. He made them, and then he took the 1 from Miracle Die, and he lived. So that was the game. It was very, very close, very good game. Again, I went second, lost a lot of stuff going second. And measuring stick, guys. So this is very important for tournaments. Not local tournaments. Obviously, you're going to be playing a lot of local people, fun people, new people, stuff like that. But for GTs, if you're going like serious, like you want to win, you want to place, you want to get ITC points, whatever it may be, I would highly, highly suggest in proxy bases, measuring sticks, and markers. Like I bought these markers off Etsy. They're right here. They have wound counters that you can keep track on everything, because all this dice is always over the table. So these markers over here, there's 2, there's 3, there's 1. Dreadknights have the 2, so I can keep track of how many wounds they have left. The single markers, you can put obviously 6 wounds in there. Use the cards, all that stuff. It's very, look, that was back there. It's like that marker right there. It's very important to do that, to keep track of who has what wounds left. Because again, dice, it's accidents, dice get picked up, dice roll over, all that stuff. And also measuring sticks. This came from War Machine. This was a different game that I played. But these sticks right here, 9 inches, is made for deep striking, is made for charging and deep striking, is made for just like advancing, moving, whatever it may be. There's a 3-inch marker. You can use that for objectives. You can use that for if you move within 3 inches of my character, I can heroic intervene. You can use that. There's 2-inch and there's also 1-inch. So this little thing right here works out so much. If you want to keep people in coherency, you just put this little 2-inch right in between them, and you just extend your reach by that much. Like it comes in clutch so much. You call people out, not call people out, but you say, hey, do you mind if you use this stick? I have a 6-inch stick somewhere here too, which I brought from War Machine, but just get the 6s with you, so you can add them together. You can do 9 and then add the 3 on top of it. That's 12. You can do 6 and 3. That's like, you do a bunch of different measuring, but it helps you not argue over anything. With tape measures, when you put your tape measure out, it's so like with geometry and like the angle and up, it's so not right coming from War Machine. And again, I'm coming from like a millimeter measuring game compared to 40K. Now, if you put this measuring stick down on the table, 9 inches, that's a true 9 inches. If you have to charge 9 inches and then put that little 1-inch to kind of get into engagement range, great. You need a 9-inch charge and your engagement. Perfect. No arguing. That's it. Measuring Dreadnought bases. I have a proxy Dreadknight base, which is just a basic base, and I can use that by deploying. I could redeploy. I can deploy my Grandmaster over here. I could see, all right, if I put my Grandmaster here, the little proxy base, can you see him? Can you shoot him? And if they're like, no, I'm like, great. Now let me move the model on top of this base. Great. You agree you can't see him. I agree you can't see him. Now he's there. If you're trying to move through forests, I'm speed 7 now with my Dreadknights. So I take my 6-inch, I move 6 inches up, and then I take my 1-inch, I put another 1-inch on top of it. Now I'm going to move 7 inches. And that's like to get a charge range. And this isn't just for you guys, this is for the enemy as well. If you have to move around a building, I hate when people like bend the tape measure. if you have a large like Dreadknight base and you're like bigger than this, right? It's like 6 inches. And you're trying to get around this building, and you're in this building, and you're trying to get around it. It's not a 5-inch charge to go from here on the other side. It's more like a 10-inch charge, maybe 8, because you have to measure 3 back because of the base size, 3 over because of the base size, and then 3 or 4 up. And again, it's just the measuring of the whatever. So that's just my 2 cents when it comes to measuring, is you always want to be crisp and agreeable on both sides. And I do it for every single game. I don't just do it to my opponent. I do it to myself. A game against TJ, which is our 4th game, which is today, I literally measured everything out on my guys. I'm like, hey, I have a boom, 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 9-inch charge. Do you agree? He's like, yes. I'm like, great. All right, this guy's going to deep strike here, and he's going to try and shoot. I have a laser, too, to kind of see line of sight. Perfect investment is the laser. I don't know where the laser. It's in my box over here. Lasers are perfect for 40K. Like, you just put the laser on the table, line of sight, no arguing. Great, I can see you. So all these tools are definitely good. I'm going to make a video on that, too, for 40K. But this game, again, one of the close games, great opponent, awesome Sisters player. And he beat me, and he got in the top bracket. So he says he wish he didn't get in the top bracket because they're really hard to play people, but whatever. So he got in top bracket. Congratulations. Yeah, so that was the Sisters game. 72 to 71. Chicken scratch, because again, I was just trying to write as much down as possible. We only made it to turn 4. If we go to turn 5, I think I beat him. So that's another thing. He took Witch. Obviously, he maxed out. Assassinate, he got 6. I think. And then Direct Assault, he got 12 or max out with him. He ended with 72. I had 71. And I shouldn't have taken Direct. Grind, I don't know if I should have taken. I missed 6 points there. And then Gauge, I missed 6 points as well. But it was really hard to get engaged on against Sisters because they just have so many melted bombs or meltas. Okay, so that was that. Third game against another Cuddle Buddy. This is our pink shirts that we wear. This is Craig, so he runs Chaos Knights. You've probably seen a couple of games with me and Craig. So this game will be fun to talk about. This is, I wouldn't say my dice shit the bed, but my dice left. I wanted to sell my dice, so if anybody wants to buy some dice, I have a ton of dice to sell. Let me take some drink for this. All right, so Chaos Knights, super fun to play. They got a huge buff with getting OBSEC units, which are the little knights, and then the big knights. I don't know if they're OBSEC, but they're like, they count as 10, they count as 5, which is awesome. He changed up his list, so he brought 2 big knights and a bunch of little knights. They're all hiding behind this thing. The big knights can't hide, but this is Warlord. He does like crazy weapons, big ass flamer thing that hits on like wounds on 2s and all this stuff. Big gun, 2 big melta guns in the back that just melt Dreadknights. And my Dreadknights are trying to hide. These 2 out here, this one has the shunt, and this one I don't know why I put there. That was probably a mistake on my part. And these guys hopped over here. So, it was a really long deployment, so it was like this, and it was over there. So, he got turn 1, which again, if this Grandmaster is back here, I think it's a different game. But it wasn't. So he's right in the open. I had to pop my 3++ on turn 1, and I don't know if I took a picture. I did. Okay. Okay. So this is Craig. You guys all know Craig. So this was the roll. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I think 5 or 6 I rolled. He has a 3++. He shot me with the big gun. I failed 1, 2, 3, 4, and then maybe 1 behind here, which was 5 for 3 damage each, I believe. So my Grandmaster just died. Turn 1, gone. Yeah, it was bad. So that was one shot with that. Pop my 3 pops off, didn't matter. And then what else did I lose? I lost a couple guys from, like, these guys shoot 6s explode. And then these guys have the melta-guns with the chain swords. These guys have the same thing. These have the autocannons back here. So a lot of shots with these little jacks, which are really good. Like, he changed up the list, and I really like his list with this changing, and he did really well. He went 3-0 for day 1. My Dreadknights, what do I have left? I have this Dreadknight. I have this Dreadknight. Both my Grandmasters are dead at this point. And this was funny. See this little base right here? You guys see that? So I'm standing here, right? Just imagine me standing here, and this is with my camera as high as I possibly can go, and then I take a picture. So that's with my camera super, super high. I didn't move or shoot this guy for an entire turn, maybe a turn and a half. So this guy's literally just sitting here, my Dreadknight, and I didn't even see him. This building is so freaking tall. The windows are so tiny. I didn't see him. And at this point, I lost both my Grandmasters, rolled like complete ass. So I wasn't like super worried about winning this game. I knew Craig kind of had it. So I kind of see like how much points I can get to try and stay in the running for some prize. But these strikes, these interceptors, they got shot off by these guys. My strike steep struck over here. They charged, didn't do anything. They died to the stomps. These guys died over here. This guy moved up and killed, I think, this knight. And then this knight moved up. The other big knight big knight in the building moved out 13 and then charged and finished off my Dreadknight. This Dreadknight, I think, lived, or he might have died at the end. I don't know. But he didn't really move across this thing because, again, the terrain just kind of stopped me most of the game. Yeah, so that was that. I conceded, I think, for the first time in a very long time on turn 3. And I think I wrote down. And then another thing that I didn't do was I wasn't tied to shadows because I wanted the 30-inch range on my turn, which was just don't do it. If you don't go first, just stay in tides and just stay there. My Grandmaster would have lived. My shunting one, if I was in tides, because it was like a 3+ save if I was in tides, and I rolled a 5 and a 3, but instead the AP2 weapons brought me to a 4-up invuln, which then I failed. So then that Grandmaster died. So yeah, always stay in tides shadows. That was a new mistake on my part. But it was still fun because it was Greg. Greg's a really good player. There's this really beautifully painted Chaos Knight dude coming out of the building, and he still had, there's my strikes that are about to get obliterated. He still had a bunch of knights left, so I was like, there's honestly no way I can finish off. Oh yeah, he killed my last Dread Knight. There's no way I can finish off the big dread, all his little dreads with interceptors, strikes, tech priest, and these dead guys over here. So he took that one. Game 3 for us on Sunday. That was my kill pile. Now look at this. Turn 2, top of 2. He killed 900 points of my army. That's how the rolls were. He killed. I got a couple primaries just because I was holding a lot of the objectives most of the game. So 10, 10, 10, 5, and then engage, which I think I took every game besides the last game. But 2, 3, 2, 0, 0. Psychic Ritual, I took 1, 1, 2, 2. Oh, that was it. So I think I took notes in this game too. So against Craig, Craig is the 8th ranked Chaos Knights in the world. So that's awesome. He's really good with this Chaos Knights because I think he's one of the only ones who run Chaos Knights. I'm just kidding. Roll 6 and I fail 5 4-ups. That was one of them. Tides of Shadows, we already went over that. Failed 5 Psychic Ritual tests. So guys, if you know Greatnight's Psychic Rituals, I need to roll 5. I failed 5 of them throughout the whole game. So that's why this Psychic Ritual is 1, 2, 2. So dice are not on my part on that. I perilled, I think, a ton of times on rolling ones. What else? Grandmaster didn't make it past turn 2. 3++ failed turn 1. And turn 3 forgot to shoot a Dreadknight behind the building. So everything I went over, it was just bad. Great for Craig. Bad for Grey Knights. So Craig got into our bracket. He was 3-0, but he was 3-0 after me. But he was 2-0, and he got parried in the second bracket because of control points. So, or victory points, whatever it is. So there was, I forget how many on top bracket, second bracket, third bracket, fourth bracket. So he got parried in my bracket. So that's how me and him played, even though we drove 2 hours to go play here. I gave him as many points as he possibly earned, which he maxed out. Targets, he got 15. Bring it down, he got 10. And then he got 40 on the primary. So he ended off pretty good. And we had 12, 6, 7, 35. So not too bad. I tried to get as many points as I could before I died. Yeah. So day 2. Oh, this is Brian. So this is his army. He's got the what does he run? It's like a custom army that he like customizes his whole army. Black Templar. Black Templars. He plays with me all the time. You guys watch a lot of his videos on the channel. So he's a very, very good player. And he's in the top bracket. So this is day 2. Day 2 is against TJ. TJ is a longtime player that we used to play way back in the day at Stomping Grounds. And he still plays his Orcs, which are painted beautifully. Gazgul is painted awesome. Still has to finish a couple of these other guys, but he used to paint everybody red and blue scheme, kind of like this. It just looks awesome. He's actually not done. I guess he wanted to get this GT ready to go. But similar to before, except he's got Gazgul. Gazgul is Nazgul? Gazgul. Gaz. Gaz is freaking awesome. Gaz is like a Archon or a Necron thing. Where you can only wound him 4 per phase. So let's go over this. This was the first game of today. And guys, when I say my dice shit the bed, I hate blaming dice. I'm not the one to say dice lost me a game, dice won me the game. It's all law of averages. Most of my games you'll see, I'll call out law of averages. Like I'll roll really good one roll, and then next roll I'll roll all 1s and 2s. I'm like, oh, look at that, law of averages. So that way my opponent knows, hey bro, it's even. Like we're going back and forth, right? Like it's a little law of averages. That wasn't the case here. I rolled like complete ass, and TJ was there to witness it, and it was funny because we were laughing like the whole game on just how bad it was. I failed so many, same thing, so many psychic rituals. I failed so many charges. I failed so many saves. It was just funny. But the list, Gazgul, you have this guy, same thing, squeaking on the boss. He's the Dark Templar or Dark Eldar thing where he gets to reroll the hits. Another ward dude on a Squiggan. 2 buggies. A weird boy, which is pretty cool. This is a mech boy, field and pain guy. 1 unit of these guys, 2 units of these guys, 3 units of these guys, and 3 bike units. Now see the commandos. They do all that. It's got little goblin dudes. I think that was it. Yeah, I think it was the list. It was very fast. So he can wog, and Gazgul can wog basically once, but it's 2 wogs. It's like the speed wog and the shooter wog, whatever it may be. But let's go back to Gaz. You can wound them 4 times per phase. So it's like the Necrons. Necrons, Satans don't really scare Grey Knights because you have the Psychic phase, the Shooting phase, and the Assault phase. So you can get all 3 phases and kill Satan, or in this case, kill Gazgul. So that was my focus. I was like, all right, I'm going to try and kill Gaz as soon as fucking possible. And playing Orcs for my 3rd time now, I kind of know what they do. I know they're very fast, they hit really freaking hard, and they can die, but still trade very well. So I wanted to stay back and just try and shoot. So I got your first turn. Holy shit, I actually rolled for first turn this game against TJ. So I'm sorry, TJ. This was the setup, and this was the setup for day 2. So I like this a lot better. There's a lot more room to move around my Dreadknights. Like I can actually fit through here, through here, through here, through here. And the TO actually asked us like 5 times, hey, can you fit all of your models through here? So I'm sure a lot of people like complained on day 1 where they just couldn't move fucking shit. I didn't complain though. I was like, hey, fuck it, I lost it anyway. It doesn't matter. Adventure games. They did really well on day 2. And they actually said, all right, make sure you're measuring this out so the way all your bases that you have can fit through here. So that was cool. Obviously, if you're going this way, it's just made to be dense cover, or this is the craters. So you don't get dense cover. These 2 over here are dense cover, same as yesterday. You have the 4 things in the middle, and these all line of sight blocking if you're behind it. So I can fit a lot of Dreadknights back here. Or Hive Guard, which was the table over from me, had 8 freaking Hive Guard just chilling in the back here, shooting everybody across the table. So John, I hate you. So he had that side. I think we set up 10 inches. Now this is the game where I'm going to explain to you why Blades of Victory is so freaking good. All right, so let's go over. Let's see if I set up. All right, so this is the setup. We go from like nothing to everything. All right, so I set up. I had my Grandmaster, Dreadnought, another Grandmaster, and my Dreadknight over here. All the interceptors. He put some guys up here. He put some other dudes back here. I think that was it, and everything else lined up here. So these guys auto moves 14, and then they auto run 6. So basically 20 inches. Turn 1, and then they could charge. So basically, if I'm at the table edge and they're there, they can basically charge me 4 inches on turn 1 if they go first. So I'm like, all right, this is gonna suck. So I need to roll first, and I got first happily. So I redeployed. I redeployed all my Dreadknights to a position where I can at least shoot gas. So I redeployed 1 Dreadknight over here. He shunted, so I didn't really need to redeploy him. And I redeployed another Dreadknight over here. So this is what I was talking about proxying. So I lined up everything to make sure that everybody can actually see Gaz, right? Because I want to shoot him. They all line of sight, all that stuff. He moved up. He moved up. These guys moved up. So let's go over the Blades of Victory. Blades of Victory started here. You have a 6-inch move up to here. And then he's like got a 9-inch move. So how it works is before turn 1, you get the redeployment and all that stuff. So he can either move back if you don't get turn 1, or he can move forward if you do get turn 1. So I got turn 1. So he moved up 6 inches, all right? And then he moves up 9 inches. So he's about 12 inches away or so from gas. So I don't have to spend a CP to make my range longer, which you can. You can spend a CP to extend the psychic power by 6. So now you're 18-inch psychic power. But now I only have to be 12. So I'm 12 inches from gas. He has a Gem of Anaktu, so he gets +2 to cast psychic powers. Now he has a Weird Boy who can stop a psychic power. So I spent 1 CP to roll 3 dice, drop the lowest. So I rolled 3 dice on my Empyric Amplification and Vortex of Doom. Because I don't really need Empyric on him because you can only take 4 wounds per phase, so didn't need that. So I use Gem of Noctu, I get +2 to cast. I roll 3 dice and I drop the lowest. So I roll like a 7 or an 8. And then I get +2 because of Gem. So I get like a 9 or 10. He gets to roll to try and deny. He didn't deny. So then I get my 3 damage on gas. I think he saved one of them. So now he has 1 left. I was hoping to just do Mortal Wounds, the Vortex, do D3 Mortal Wounds and just do my 4 in my Psych phase. That didn't happen. So I had to spend another CP to cast Smite. Now he doesn't get the Gem of Noctu, but at least I get a regular Smite. So I roll 3 dice. I roll an 11. On 3 dice, drop the lowest. So he can't deny it. And I roll like a 5. So I do 5 Mortal Wounds. He can only take 1. So I give him down that 4. So now he's at 8 left. Shooting phase comes. They casted the reroll charges, so they have the Radiant Strike or whatever it may be, where they can reroll the charges because they're Blades of Victory. He casted Hammerhand. So he's a Hammerhand. He wants to get in there. He's a 9-inch charge. They're like a 7-inch charge because they get to move up because of Blades of Victory. So they started in this building. They move up 6 because of Blades of Victory, and then they move 12. So they're basically 18 inches from my starting table edge, which gave him a 7-inch charge on turn 1. So that's a little secret with the Blades of Victory. Pretty fun, pretty fast when it actually works. So let's get into it. Shooting. We shoot gas just to kind of do the 4 damage. Psycannons do it, so 2 damage each. He takes 4 damage. I stop shooting him. Then I start shooting like these dudes over here. Take some of them off the board. And then I shoot this blue unit, which they ran away after I shot him. And that was it. Now let's get into the charge phase. I have to do 4 damage in the charge phase to kill Gaz. He doesn't get a wog. Game is basically over at that point. So let's do some rolling. I roll these guys first. Actually, I roll this guy first. So I roll those guys first. I need a 9. I didn't get a 9. I'm going to re-roll. I think I got like a 3 or something. I'm going to spend 1 CP. I'm going to re-roll. I get another 3. So he fails. Great, he's done. Now these guys have the free reroll anyway, so I don't have to reroll them. Plus, it's a 7-inch charge. I'm like, all right, I have a reroll. I can get a 7-inch charge. I roll. Not a 7. I'm like, all right, whatever. I got one more chance. I got this. I'm going to roll again. Not a 7. So I had 2 easy charge, 1 easy charge and 1 okay charge to get on Gaz, because these guys have just wound on, I don't know, I think 7 wound on 5s, but at least mortal wounds, because I started in that tide. So mortal wounds on 6s, I only needed 4 damage or 2 damage each. I probably could have killed him. If not, they're tying up. Actually, they probably would have just died. So if I didn't kill him, they die, but at least it was a chance to kill him. Right? I didn't roll it out. It would have been cool if I rolled it out, but I didn't roll it out. He definitely would have killed him. He had fucking hammerhand on him, so he would have just annihilated Gaz. So basically, I have Grandmaster, Dreadknight, and a strike squad just sitting there. These guys kind of ran up, charged, and killed most of these guys. They died next turn anyway, so they didn't really do a lot. And that was it. So his turn, he was, obviously. Yeah, so that was the charge that I failed. And that was another angle of the charge. So he moved basically everybody up. Gaz is on the other side of this building. This guy moved up. All these guys moved up. These guys moved up. These guys basically almost died. These guys move on up in the crater. Everybody moved up. So everybody's moved up super far. Now, what dies this turn is I'm waiting for him to just shoot this guy. He's got the Sigil of Exigence. I'm like, just throw one random shot into him. Let me get him the hell out of there. Teleport. And TJ's smart enough not to do that. So he kills all these guys to get them out of the way. He kills... These guys charge this guy, kill him. Actually, before he dies, Gaz charged my Grandmaster. He charged my Grandmaster. So what he said, if he didn't charge this guy into my Grandmaster, it probably would have a completely different game. You keep him back, so he has the Lookout Sir. And Gaz could easily probably just kill him by himself. So that's what happened. Gaz charged him. I used my 2 CP strat to fight on death. So I was able to kill Gaz on the death. And then I interrupted with this guy. So I spent 4 CP on the opponent's turn to try and interrupt. So he had Hammerhand on, so I interrupted. I killed maybe 3 of these guys. I'm sorry, his war boss charged me. This character I have assassinated, so his war boss charged me. I interrupted, killed the war boss, or whatever that guy was on the Squiggin. And then these guys then killed him. But at least I spent 2 CP. He was going to die anyway. I interrupted and I killed that one character, the assassinate. And he killed Gaz. So I was able to get 2 assassination on that turn. He probably didn't need to charge this guy in, honestly. These guys could have killed him himself. But we're here. These guys failed to charge on my other Dreadknight back here. So they lived. Like, that was probably the best defensive charge that I lived that turn. But yeah, so Gaz is dead. This guy's now sitting in the middle of the table, just kind of just chilling there. These Dreadknights then move up. Wow, that's the end of the game. All right, so these Dreadknights move up. We then shoot this guy because he's got the -1 damage. We put Imperium Amplification on him. He's got the -1 damage. We shoot him a shit ton. We charge this Dreadknight into him. These guys get shot off the table. We charge another Dreadknight into him. So I have 2 Dreadknights charging this dude. We kill him. We deep struck. These guys moved all the way up, but we deep struck a unit back here. And we shot these Grots that were behind this cage. The Grandmaster basically moved up this way to try and kill these bikes, which he gets a charge off, and he does. He kills a bunch of them. He leaves 2. They then flee the next turn to get over for engage on my side. And then next turn, my Grandmaster moves over. He gates a unit and puts them on this side of the table. These bikes are still alive over here, just wreaking havoc. They basically kill this whole side of the table by themselves. So they're sitting in this corner, just kind of getting the objective and getting engaged. My interceptors, who killed this unit, hopped over these guys and took out this weird boy, this character, and I left this guy on 1 wound, which would have been another character for assassinate. The buggies, which again killed the rest of that unit, which was bad, then took over that objective. So by the end of the game, this was what the table looked like. He still has bikes over here. I have one Grandmaster who Gate of Affinity himself over to here. Finished off that freaking little solo dude. I think I shot the bikes. I forget. I have 2 strike squad left there. A tech priest in the building over there, and 1 strike here. So I was casting rituals. So ritual. He casted. I forget. I don't know what he casted. But the end of the game, that was the kill pile. That was the kill pile. Yeah, so it was a bloody game against the Orcs. This was the final. We have Assassinate, Psyker Ritual, and Engage. I got 15, 15, and 11. And then maxed out on the primary. He got 25 on the primary, 7 for Engage, 3 for Banners, and Stomp Him Good, which was the Orc one. He was only able to Stomp Him Good once because he has to. It's like what's the one where I just got before? Where if you kill grind, it's kind of like grind, but for Orcs, if you kill more in melee, you get double the points or something like that. It's a lot. So that's cool. That was TJ. TJ is always a good player to play. He's a good player. And this is the final game. So this is against Greatknights. So final game, of course, going to GT, we play Greatknights for Greatknights. So this is the second time I played Greatknights versus Greatknights. I want to get a recorded game for you guys so you can see the matchup, because it's a very, very cool and fun matchup to play. Now, this guy's a fun Greatknight player. He tries like different wanky lists. So with his list, he had a unit of 10 Paladins, like old school. He had Drago. He had 2 Grandmasters. He had 2 Dreadknights. And he had a bunch of strikes, no interceptors. So the whole he had Apothecary, and I think that was it. So the whole goal was to try and buff up the Paladins as soon as much. So me playing Greatknights, I knew what to stop, when not to stop, try to block whatever. So I was trying to block as much as possible from the Paladins to buff them up so I could hopefully shoot them off the table. Now, luckily, I got turn 1. Anytime you play Greatknights versus Greatknights and it's a Dreadknight battle, you always want to go turn 1. If you don't go turn 1, you just got to hide and hopefully you don't die. So I got turn 1. He had his Grandmaster back here behind the building, but it was just out enough where I can get a line of sight from most of my Dreadknights that I set up on the left side of the table. So I started in the one where I shoot 30 inches. So I started in the assault one. And my Grandmaster had to shunt over here so that way, because I couldn't get line of sight to cast any powers on him. So I did the same thing where I shunted. I moved up 6 inches. These guys, now this is the difference. This game I played very defensively rather than offensively. I didn't take Engage. I didn't take... Alright, so I took Psychic Ritual, Octarius, and Assassin. Didn't take Engage. I wanted to stay back and kind of see how the battle went. So I basically kept most of my guys back. I didn't have to get on their side of the table. I just kind of stayed behind these buildings, behind these crates, and kind of on the side of the table. And I stayed on my side. Dreadknights moved up about halfway. Everything else stayed behind the Dreadknights. So that's kind of how I played this game. So he shunted up to about 9 inches away on this side. 18 inches away, I'm sorry. I measured 18 inches from his Grandmaster. I got line of sight. So he placed right here. I Gate of Affinity. This Dreadknight that moved up from here to here, Gate Affinity him over to I believe, right next to us, just so he can have line of sight, because he wasn't going to get line of sight. And all these guys moved up 7 inches, 7 inches, 7 inches, but they all had line of sight to his Grandmaster. So what did I do? I spent 1 CP to extend my range to 18. I spent 1 CP to roll 3 dice, drop the lowest, because I'm going against Grey Knights. And I used my Gem of Anaktu. So I did Empyric Amplification, which was the most important one. So I Imperified. I rolled like 11 on. I rolled a 9, and plus 2 goes up to 11. So he did the same thing where he spent 1 CP to try and deny 11 on 3 dice, drop the lowest. So I knew if I had to get this, if I got this off, it was very reliably he was probably going to die. So I got it off. Then I used Vortex of Doom. Now I can't target him with Vortex of Doom because Vortex of Doom is close to target. So I had to target those strikes. So I did like 3 damage to strikes. He made 1. I killed 1 guy. But don't care. Empyric Amplification is off. So next is I just shot the shit out of him. So I killed the Grandmaster. Now this board looks light because he put 2 Dreadknights in reserves and 3 strike squads in reserve. Everything else is behind this building, which I couldn't see besides the Grandmaster. So turn 1, I was able to, he had the shunt out here. Turn 1, I was able to kill the Grandmaster. I killed both these strikes off of the objectives, just with like random shots and then shots that went, this way, because I killed the Grandmaster. I had a couple more shots going into here, and a couple random bolter shots. So his turn 1, he moves up Drago. He moves up his Paladins. He actually Gate of Affinities his Paladins from behind the building out to the building within 9 inches of my Grandmaster. He Cybolt ammunitioned his Paladins, blew up this Dreadknight that was over here. This Dreadknight kind of shot and did more damage to him, so he killed one of my Dreadknights. The Paladins, I blocked Sanctuary. He failed Armor Resilience. And he got off the gate, obviously. And what else? I think that was it. I think I stopped the powers I really needed to stop. So I stopped the Sanctuary with 3 dice. He failed the Armor Resilience, and he got off a gate. So I was happy without having a 4+ invul save on his Paladins. So his Paladins, all 10 of them, are literally sitting right in front of me. This game, I don't know if I took a lot of pictures. I didn't really take a lot of pictures. So they're sitting here, all 10 Paladins. Drago's literally like right next to him. Apothecary is moving up a little bit. And he failed his charge. He needed a 9. He didn't have any CP left because he was trying to like deny on my power. So he was kind of using a lot of CP to deny. He spent 2 CP to do Cybolt ammunition, all that stuff. So he failed his 9-inch charge. So he didn't kill my Grandmaster. So now my turn. Grandmaster moves up. All 3 Dreadknights move up. 1 squad of Interceptors move up. I get Empyric Amplification off. I do the same thing. I roll 3 dice, drop the lowest, which I get off. He can't deny it, or he didn't deny it. And I just shoot the shit out of Paladins. So all the Dreadknights shot the Paladins. I got 2 charges off. I got 1 charge on the Grandmaster he charged in, and then I got 1 charge on the Interceptors they charged in. So Paladins are now dead. This guy is still kind of like hanging out, shooting over here. He has an Apothecary, and Drago left. This is, again, where the dice were just funny. So Drago walks up, charges the Grandmaster. He does 7 attacks because he has the Warlord trait where he gets an extra attack. Does 7 attacks, hits all of them because he put rerolls on himself. Hits all of them, wounds like, let's say, 5 times, and I fail all 5. So my Grandmaster just gets wiped away. Drago literally walks up, knows how to kill Grandmasters, and just literally stabs him and says, "You betrayer," and just freaking cut his head off from his baby carriage. So there goes my Grandmaster. So Drago's sitting there. At this point in the game, I have all my Interceptors slowly creeping up, hopping up. Now, this was very cool on my part, I think, is I had so many strikes and Interceptors left. I knew he had guys deep striking, and he had the shunt guy still hasn't shunted. So the guy, again, was up here. I moved my Dreadknight up to here, right in front of him, and these guys up. So I spread all my guys out as far as they possibly can go, 2 inches from every single side, and I get every, every single inch of my side of the table within 9 inches. It can't deep strike, can't shunt. This whole section couldn't shunt. This whole section couldn't shunt. This whole section couldn't shunt. So the only spot I really left him was up here. Now what had happened was there was a little guy right here, which somehow got kicked, moved, whatever it may be. I probably hit it with my shirt by accident, whatever it may be. So he like moved to shut and started walking over here to try and get in this little corner. Like you can't see it, but right behind my head. He tried to get in this little corner right here. I was like, no, you can't. I measured out. You can't deep strike over there. He's like, oh, I think I can get right here. So he put his thing down. I'm like, the fuck? How's that there? And then I look at my guy. He's literally right next to my other dude, like that far away. And 2 inches is pretty big. Like 2 inches, like this far. So I put my little 2 inch measuring stick down. I moved him where he should have been, and he didn't have the thing. So I was like, what the fuck? Like, I obviously let him do it because I wasn't going to be like, oh, no, you can't deep strike there because he was supposed to be here. But this is a GT. You can't go back on stuff like that. So that was my mistake, whatever it may be. But that was probably the coolest thing I've ever done when it came to setting my models up on the table. Like look at this. I have like so many guys just all spread out, all 2 inches apart, like chain. I was like, this is so cool. You can't deep strike anywhere. Like, you literally only deep strike back here or, like, on the other side of here. But somehow he was able to get his Dreadknight shunt all the way back over here. So then his turn, he walks his Grandmaster up about, 5 inches. And then his Dreadknight deep struck right where his Grandmaster was. So now I have 2 Dreadknights in my backfield because I fucked up. And the other Dreadknight deep struck up here. And then a strike, I think he left his strikes off because at this point, he either forgot or just didn't care or couldn't put them anywhere. I don't know what it may be. But he shot a bunch. He killed more of my Dreadknights. I have my Grandmaster left up here. I have a Dreadknight left over here. He still has Drago in this building. What I do after he's done shooting me is I basically move 2 interceptor squads into the building, like surrounding Drago. These interceptor squads hopped over here. What else? Grandmaster just moved up there a little bit, and these guys kind of just spread out. So I'm casting Psyker Ritual. This is another thing. If you're playing Grand Knight player, take Psyker Ritual. I know it's tough when obviously you can deny it, but if you roll high, they have to choose to either let you have it for a point, or they have to try and roll high to try and beat you, which they're using a deny to try and do your Psyker Ritual. So this is what I learned the first tournament that I played Grey Knights in, is I didn't take a Psyker Ritual. I was like, oh, there's no way I'm going to get it off. But honestly, you're going to get it off a lot. Turn 1, you're going to get off almost 3, so that's 4 points turn 1, because they're not going to be 24 inches away from you. Like, you could have one guy back here, another guy back here, and now they're outside of 24, so they're not going to stop you anyway. So right there, turn 1, you already have 4 points. If you can get an interceptor squad up there, which I don't think you can, but that would be another point, right? If you shun or deep strike or whatever it may be, like, you're able to get Psychic Ritual off a lot more than I thought against Grey Knights. So try and remember that. Thousand Suns, maybe do it. It's kind of hard because they have a lot more Psychers. No, they have a lot more ways to deny. But yeah, how we finish off is these guys killed this Dreadknight. This guy, I think, lived. I forget how he died. Drago, I shot everything at Drago. So I spent literally every single bolter shot. I used sidebolt ammunition. I shot both my Dreadknights at Drago, and I took him down to 1 health. So he lived. I charged him with 2 full units of interceptors, and a mortal wound that I did killed him. So I was like, all right, 1 mortal wound, just roll. See if you roll 5 up. If you do, roll your 3 ups. He failed the 5 up, so he just died. So Drago finally died. Apothecary, he called it right after Drago died. And then we finished off the game basically kind of looking like this. And this was the final matchup. So we got 45 in primary because he gave up, and we still had like 2 more turns left. Psychic Ritual, again, we maxed out. So I got 4, 4, 6 on turn 3. That was awesome. Arctarius, we only got 12. I'm sorry, we got 12 because it maxed out. Because I rotted turn 1, turn 2, turn 3, 4. So these last 3 turns I rotted to get 12. Assassinate, I only got 13. Warlord, and then the captains or the champions that I killed. And then he got no primary because, again, I shot both of his strikes off turn 1. And he just didn't really have a lot to come back on the objectives because I had most of the objectives taken over. Assassinate, he got 4 because of my Warlord. Rod, he got 8. And Engage, he got 7. So 29 points to 95 points. Whew, my God, I almost finished a whole beer. All right, guys, so that was awesome. That was a really, really fun tournament. This was the Space Marine player, the guy who won the tournament. He had Noise Marines, Chaos Marines, a bunch of demons. He had Abaddon against Brian. That was him. If you guys know who that is, Tyler, TJ something. That's Brian. So that was the game. He had Abaddon, a couple character dudes, Lucius. Good player. I think he's like one of the top players. I don't know anything about him. I was just taking pictures of the game. This was the setup. That was Brian. That's him. And this is the meal. So they fed us after the last game. They had a huge feast. It was awesome. They had literally like everything. They had chicken, pork chops, ham, meatballs, vegetables, mashed potatoes, scalloped potatoes, which are great, macaroni salad, pasta salad, potato salad, a bunch of stuff. Like they had so much food, and it was awesome. So Frank did a really good job running the event at Adventure Games out in Scranton. So if you're out that way, definitely check out Adventure Games. Give them a shout out. And I didn't take pictures of any of the prizes, but the prizes, I won a battle box for the Black Templar. So like a full $160 battle box, pretty cool. I'm gonna try and sell it. So if anybody wants Black Templars, hit me up. I'm trying to sell that. And then a bunch of other guys. Like how it went was the brackets. Top 4 people in the top bracket got one of the prizes. Top 3 people of the second bracket got one of the prizes. Top 2 people of the last bracket and the bracket winner of the 4th bracket got the last prize. And then they had a whole bunch of raffles that they gave out, a whole bunch of like winning like little stuff. We got the swag bags. And people who won the thing got a plaque of like what place they were in, which bracket, stuff like that. So it was pretty cool. It ran very well. It was just like the terrain I didn't like on day 1. But again, I'm running Dreadknight, so it was big bases everywhere, so it's really hard to play. But turn 2 or game 2, I liked it a lot better. It's a lot easier to hide your stuff if you didn't want to get just shot off the table turn 1. But overall, I really liked it. It was my first GT. We finished up 3-2. I lost 2 games day 1. I went second, and picking secondaries. I think I'm going to do a video of just secondaries. Hopefully people will make the same mistake I did, and really knowing your list based off what secondaries you're taking. So you want to make a list based off like, all right, I think I have enough for Rod, I have enough for banners, I have enough for Engage, I have enough for whatever it may be. And that's kind of like how you're going to build your list, because that's going to win you a lot more games when it comes to secondaries, even primary. So that's kind of what I'm going to go into the next tournament as I'm going to practice 1 Detachment, 1 Brotherhood, and we got a game tomorrow, which I'm going to record against Jack, who we're going to go, I guess I'll tell you the list because he won't see it anyway. It's going to be, I'll post my tournament list at the bottom for you guys if you guys want to see it. It's going to be Crow. So we're going to test out Crow. Grandmaster Dreadknight. We're going to do Rapiers, obviously, because it's like one of the best Brotherhoods. 3 Strike Squads, 30 Interceptors, 3 Dreadknights, and a Rhino. So really basic. We're going to test it out. I'm going to play more towards scenario. So we're going to try scenarios, try Psych powers, try just kind of like a brick of just walking up the table, and kind of see how it goes. But guys, let me know what you think about this. I love doing these videos, kind of let you guys know how the tournament scene is, especially for the Grey Knights. If you guys are just 40K enthusiasts, definitely subscribe to the channel. Once we get up to 1,000 subscribers, I'll be able to stream live on Monday nights and stream live in our battle bunker in our garage. So Anybody who's in the Northeast of Pennsylvania or Northeast of the United States, hit me up. Maybe we can get some games in. If you guys are on Discord, Discord link is in the comment below. And let me know what you guys think. Again, I like doing this. I think it's fun. I'm very competitive when it comes to just tabletop games in general. So I want to make these kind of help maybe casual people get into the competitive scene, because it's always good when we see new people show up to our tournaments. It's in alternate universes in Bluebell. There's one in Media, I believe. God, I'm a terrible shout out. But I go to the one in Bluebell. Alternate universes, there's a bunch of them. But that's where we play on Mondays, and also the tournaments once a month. We have one coming up on January 15th. So hopefully this video finds you guys well. Appreciate it. Thanks for clicking on it, and we will see you in another video soon.